Did anybody else wake up the morning after Christmas and think, the Christmas magic's gone? I mean, I don't know about you, but I always find this week between Christmas and New Year's to be an odd week because I didn't know this morning whether or not I should have said Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. And when I think of this week between Christmas, the only lights that seem to be shining or glimmering are the ones that we've left plugged in, or maybe you gave your kid too much candy for breakfast. But I read this, and it kind of caught me off guard. It was a meme that I found online. It said this: December the 1st through the 24th, festive, magical, hopeful. December the 26th, I have no idea what day it is, the trash won't fit in the bin, and the house looks like a wrapping paper tsunami hit it. I don't know what your house has been like since the days after Christmas, but today we're going to walk through what looks like the least Christmassy part of the Christmas story. Because everything up to this point has been this grander idea, this thing that Jesus is coming and he's about to change the world. But then we find ourselves on the back end, just days after Jesus has been born, just days after all the dust has settled around Christmas, days after where you and I are asking the question, do we go ahead and put the Christmas lights up now, or do we wait until after the new year? It's a conversation we have at our house. I'm like, let's go ahead and put everything up. Let's get it away. My wife's like, let's just keep watching Christmas movies and let's just watch as much Hallmark as we can. Yeah, some of you likes their Hallmark. But what we're going to find ourselves kind of navigating through is a tension that I think all of us live in. And it's really a question that maybe you've asked yourself or you're going to ask yourself. What is it in this world that is truly unshakable? What is it that's truly unshakable? What is it that exists in my life and in yours that's unshakable, that is reliable, that is firm, that is a foundation that you and I can trust? It's a question at some point in our lives that all of us have to ask. And I think as we navigate through Matthew chapter 2, starting in verse 13, we'll begin to get our answer, what it is that is unshakable. What it is that you and I can anchor our life to that will help give us hope. Hope far beyond just Christmas. Because as much joy and hope that Christmas brings, the lights fade and the music goes out. And all of us are fighting for, well, do I join the gym now or do I wait until after the New Year's rush? And so if you have your Bibles this morning, I want to encourage you to turn to Matthew chapter 2. Because we see a tension. Because everything in life is temporary. The lights, the gifts, the moments. But what is it that is actually unshakable? Starting there in verse 13, it says, when they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said, and take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him. I just want to pause there because I want you to understand, and especially if you're parents and you've had a child. The child's been born. All the emotions that you felt as first-time parents, the excitement and the fear. What are we going to do? How's this going to work out? What am I going to do to raise this child to become who he's supposed to? And the weight that Joseph and Mary must have felt on their own, knowing that this was the Son of God, not just any ordinary child, but this was the Son of God. And he was born, and now he's being told, hey, I want you to pick up your family, and I want you to go. I want you to leave where you're at. I know the child's just been born. I know things are still messy, and you're still trying to put all the pieces together, but you need to get up and you need to go. You need to run because your life's at stake. Your son's life, my son's life's at stake. Imagine that moment. I don't know how I would have felt if the hospital had come to me and said, okay, it's time to leave. We're not ready to leave yet. We still want to make sure that mom's okay, that the baby's okay. And they're saying, you got to get up and you have to leave because your life's in danger. Set that in your mind for just a moment. Because in Joseph's mind, what's going on? This isn't the way it was supposed to be. This isn't what I was expecting. I thought that he would come into the world and everything would be great. But look at what it continues on there in verse 14. It says, so he got up. He took the child and his mother during the night, and they left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. And so was fulfilled what the Lord had said through the prophet, out of Egypt I called my son. When Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, and if you go to the verses back before, the Magi were those who were in the east that came to see, the wise men that came to see Jesus. And when they had come, they had asked Herod, hey, where is it that the Messiah is to be born? Where is it? Because we saw the star and we want to go to where he's at. But the Magi, when they left, they didn't return back the way that Herod had asked them so that they could report to him, hey, this is where the child. They knew that something was wrong. So Herod knew that he had been outwitted by the Magi. It says he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. Then what was said through the prophet of Jeremiah was fulfilled. A voice is heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more. The tension. The tension that exists. Joseph, Mary, Jesus, they flee. Herod rages. Says that children are killed and families are going to grieve. Evil seems to win in this moment. In this moment, even in the darkest of moments, what seems like there's no hope, that there's no future, that God's promise, what was going to happen? What was it going to look like? What was life going to be like? What was Egypt going to be like? If Herod is willing to go to the extent of this to try to kill our son, what will anyone else do in this moment? What will happen? When everything in life, when everything is shaking, I believe God anchors what really matters. When everything in your life seems to be out of control, when everything is shaking and you have no control on it, I believe God anchors what really matters in life. I read on social media, because that's where I get my news and my information. I read on social media just yesterday of a lady who lost everything. And she thought her world was over. She lost everything because of decisions that she had made, the choices that she had determined, the direction she thought her life should go. She lost everything and she thought her life was over, that there was no reason to keep living, but it was there. It was there in that moment that seemed the darkest that she met Jesus. And everything changed. She realized that before, her life was anchored in something that could be broken, that could be taken away in a heartbeat. And then she met Jesus. And she found out in that moment what was truly unshakable, what really mattered the most. Just imagine, put yourself in their shoes. What would you have done if you were Joseph? What would you have done? How would you have responded in that moment? What would you have done if you were Mary in that moment? I could just see the conversation being played out between Mary and Joseph, just based off the conversations between my wife and I. Joseph going to Mary, hey, honey, I know that you just had this child, but we've got to get up and we've got to go. You've got to make this quick. Let's go. Let's clean everything up. Let's pack everything up, and we've got to go. And by the way, we're going to wait till night. We're going to kind of sneak out, and nobody's going to even notice that we're gone. Mary, on the other hand, are you kidding me? I just had a baby. What do you mean we've got to go? I'm not ready. He's not ready to travel yet. Can't we just wait for just a moment? Can't we wait? And what's interesting about that conversation that probably took place for them, it's probably the same conversation that you and I have had with God in moments when he's called us to move. God, wait. God, I'm not ready. But what I've discovered is that in that waiting, God is quietly working things out. Because God, he's unstoppable. His plan is unstoppable. Jesus is the foundation. Jesus is the foundation that will not move. And we've said it over and over through this entire series. If you're homesick, just come home. If your world feels unstable, if your world feels confusing or disappointing, come home. Come home, because I'm sure that Joseph and Mary both felt the exact same thing. This feels unstable. This feels confusing. This isn't working itself out the way that we had hoped. But then there's Herod. Herod, some things that I learned about Herod. We know that he was powerful, but he was also paranoid. He was brilliant at building, but yet he was also brutal. Did you know he executed his 2 sons and his wife and countless others because of his own jealousy and paranoia? Herod had a standing order to kill prominent men at his death just so that people would cry. That's a, wow, what? That's how paranoid and crazy and jealous this guy. He was willing to do anything so that he could draw all attention to himself, so that it could be about him. This standing order, he called this order the Herodian slaughter order. He was so desperate for control that he tried to force sorrow on the city that he ruled. In Matthew's story, I think he fits his character perfectly. That out of his jealousy for Jesus, out of his jealousy for the Messiah, he did what he was known to do. Well, let's just kill him. Let's just kill not only Jesus, but let's just kill all of the babies that are 2 years and younger. And we all know what it's like. We all know what it's like to face things we can't control. You know what it's like. You know what it's like to face the news of your health. It's out of your control. It wasn't what you expected. You hadn't planned for that. You know what it's like when you can't control the relationship. You can't control the other person the way that you had hoped. The outcome isn't playing itself the way that you had expected. You can't control it. Your finances. Even at times, no matter how much you try to control them, at times it seems like they're out of control. Or even your expectations. Your expectations for yourself or your expectations for someone else. Or better yet, your disappointments. You can't control your disappointments. You can't control when someone or something lets you down. Or better yet, the news. You can't seem to control the news. But this is exactly the person and the character of Herod. He was trying to control the situation. And if we're honest, we've all been in Herod's shoes, where we tried to control everything around us. If they would just, then everything would turn out the way that I'd planned. If my job goes this direction, then it will open doors so that I can go here, there, and everywhere that I want to go. If my kids would just do what I asked them to do, when I asked them to do it, everything would be perfect. But we're just like Herod. We face the same struggles that he faced. We face struggles of jealousy. We get jealous of other people. We see things that they have, and then we begin to covet those things, and we begin to want those things the same way that Herod ultimately wanted what the Magi were doing for the Messiah. He wanted them to praise and worship him. And we do the same thing. We want to draw attention to ourselves. We have this expectation. We want to control everything. Herod is a picture of what people do when they try to control what only God can rule. Herod is a picture of that. And here's the truth. The world will always have a Herod. The world will always have a Herod. There will always be someone, and at times even us, that want to control and become jealous of others. We've seen it played out. It's not the first time in human history. But here's the thing. Herod wasn't acting alone. He was really just a puppet to the king of Rome. See, Rome at this time, it ruled 25% of the world's population. It had unparalleled military strength. It built roads that still exist today. It dominated politically, economically, and culturally. The same Roman Empire that was built that thought it was going to control everything, control history. Did you know it unintentionally built the same roads that carried the gospel? That's still carrying the gospel of the good news of Jesus Christ. That even in the darkest moments, God is still unshakable. God is still showing up. God is still enough. Jesus is enough. He's enough that no matter where you are, no matter where you've been or what's going on in your life, no matter what you've done, Jesus is enough. He's enough for you. He's enough for me. He's enough at our breaking point. He's enough. It didn't matter what Herod had planned, what he was trying to orchestrate or unfold. It didn't matter because God showed up. God showed up. He was there. He was working things out. God used the empire that tried to stop Jesus to spread his message. And the truth is we've all faced systems that feel bigger than us. A job that we can't fix, a diagnosis that we've received, a broken relationship, a culture that feels hostile, a fear that maybe we can't outrun. You see, Rome ruled, but God ultimately reigned. God reigned. Rome may have ruled, but God was reigning. He was orchestrating something so much bigger than anybody ever imagined. And so let me ask you a question. What rules your life? Really, what rules your life? Because for Herod, what ruled his life was his jealousy and his pride, his arrogance. Or does God reign? Does God reign? Does God reign in your life when you feel like you're on the mountain or the valley, or you're somewhere in between? Does God reign? Because human power always looks unshakable until God moves. Human power always looks unshakable until God moves. Wow, did you see that? Did you see what they did? I can't believe that. It's unbelievable. I couldn't imagine anyone ever doing something like that. But then when we see God move, it trumps everything else. I mean, when's the last time that you truly saw God move in your life or someone else's? When's the last time you saw God do the unthinkable, the unimaginable, the thing that seemed impossible? When's the last time? When's the last time you saw God move? Because what we'll do is we'll celebrate Christmas. And it'll be a moment, a memory that we store back for later to draw from. But it will fade, just like everything else. But yet God remains. God stands. He remains. He can't be stopped. Even though Herod raged and Rome ruled, even though grief filled the street, Jesus still remains. The story keeps moving forward. Matthew quotes Jeremiah 31:15, not just for a prophecy of grief, but he does it for a prophecy of hope. To summarize Jeremiah 31, it's all about, I will turn mourning into joy. I will rebuild what is broken. I will make a new covenant. Matthew is hinting that Jesus is the one who brings hope. He's the one. Egypt, this place that his family fled to, it's actually the same place that Israel entered in Genesis because of the famine. In both stories, God used Egypt as a place of protection. God takes what looks like a setback and he uses it as a setup. God can do the same thing in your life and in mine. He can take what looks like a setback and use it as a setup to do something far beyond us. But the question still remains. Does he reign in your life? Does Jesus reign? Does he have full control? If I'm honest, and I'm just going to be honest, there's moments, 100%. 100%. There's moments I doubt, I wrestle, I wonder. But does he reign? It's a question that I have to constantly answer. Jesus is unshakable. Jesus is unshakable because evil can't stop him. Empires can't contain him. Pain can't erase him. And death could not defeat him. Everything in this story moves except for Jesus. Herod moves. The soldiers move. Joseph moves. The family moves. But the purpose of God is unshakable. His purpose is unshakable. So I want you to ask a couple of questions this morning. If anything, out of this story, I want you to ask 4 questions, and I want you to honestly answer these questions. What's shaking in your life right now? What is shaking in your life right now? Name it. Not out loud. You don't have to. But what is it that's shaking? What is it that in your life right now you're doubting? Where is it that you're doubting God? Where is it that you haven't put your full trust into him? You've held something back. You've held on to it, believing somehow that if I control this, the outcome will be better than God's outcome. What is it? What's shaking in your life right now? Name it. Name it. Be honest. Don't hold back. What have you been trying to control that you need to surrender? What have you been trying to control that you need to surrender? Because I think if you and I really want to experience the Christmas story, experience all that God has for us, it starts with surrender. What is it that you've held on to? What is it that you have believed? What lie is it that you've believed that you need to let go of? What relationship? What financial decisions? What is it about raising your kids? What is it about your job? What is it about your friends? What is it that you need to surrender that you've been holding on to, that you've tried to control? What is it? I mean, if I'm going to put all my cards on the table, what I've been guilty of trying to control too often in my life is my kids. Having this belief that I don't want to let them fail, but yet I know that failure happens. And I'll tell you that failure is a platform for success, that for me, I don't mind failing, but I don't want my kids to fail. I want them to make the right choices, to pick the right relationships. But yet there's this freedom that I have to give them and let go and surrender and trust God that his plan and his purpose for my kids is better than anything that I could ever come up with. So if I'm honest, the thing that I hold on to often is my kids. And I don't want to let go. What is it that you're holding on to? The third question, what system feels bigger than you? What system feels bigger than you? That system that you're hoping will give you the answers that you're looking for, provide the solutions that you want in your life. What system have you put your trust and your faith in, hoping that this will be the answer to everything? What system feels bigger than you? Rome was massive, but God still worked. There's no system, there's no government that will ever provide or satisfy the deepest longing and desires in your life. There's nothing that this world has to offer that will fill the hole in your life except for Jesus. Nothing. So what system feels bigger than you? And the fourth question is this: where do you need Jesus to be unshakable for you today? Where do you need Jesus to be unshakable for you today? Is it hope? Is it strength? Is it forgiveness? Is it direction? Is it peace? Because what seemed unshakable for Mary and Joseph, God was in complete control the whole time. What seemed like a chaotic moment after the glow, God was in complete control. So where is it today? Where is it do you need Jesus to be unshakable for you? Where is it? And maybe today for you, you're here, and where you need Jesus to be unshakable is you surrendering your life to him and trusting him. Giving him full control of your life. Letting go. Maybe today for you, it is the defining moment that says, I am going to give my life to Jesus and I'm going to trust him with everything because I know that Jesus came to die for me. Jesus took my death by going to the cross and paying for my sins, my mistakes, my shame, my pain. And he conquered that, and he rose from the grave. And so maybe today for you, it's doing exactly what Romans 10:9-10 says. Believing in your heart, confessing with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. So maybe today for you, that's what you need to do. Maybe today you're just like me, and you've already given your life to Christ. You've already trusted him, but yet you're still trying to control some things. And today, you just need to let it go. I told you, it's the least Christmassy part of the Christmas story. But it has real implications for us and how we respond to God in this moment. And so in just a moment, you're going to have an opportunity to respond. And my hope is that you will take your next step. Will you pray with me? Father, I can only imagine what it must have been like in that moment for Joseph and Mary. And we've all been in situations similar, maybe not the exact, but we've been in similar situations where it seemed like the world was coming down around us and that we had no control and everything was spinning and we felt lost and hopeless. We felt like we were living life with no direction. And Father, today, the same answer that you gave to Joseph and Mary is the same one that you give us today, that we just need to trust you. That no matter where we are, no matter where we've been, no matter what we've done, we just need to trust you. And God, I believe today there are some that are here in person, some that are watching online. Today, the step that they need to take is to give their life to you. to put their faith in you, to trust you with everything. Doesn't mean that life is going to be perfect, but when things seem shaky, we find that you're unshakable, and you give us the foundation that we need. So let us respond, Lord. Let us trust you. Let us anchor ourselves to your word. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.